Hello,
So I can
friends.
Hi. So I was gonna say that I was trying to think of a way to properly phrase this. I think this works. I feel like after a few episodes and a good portion of the season that has been a little on the hit or missy side for me, admittedly, as our viewers know. I really feel like that after today's episode, well, this week rather's episode, I can honestly say that, in my personal opinion, the MLP season 6 train is back on track. Choo choo. Sorry, that's all
Well,
I got. I've been up since 4 in the morning, so that's all I got
yeah,
as far as
blame his
enthusiasm
work.
goes. Yeah, corporate, but well, they pay my pay, so I guess I shouldn't badmouth them.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
capitalist, but I'm a grateful capitalist.
there you go.
But yeah, no,
S-
this episode was cool. Thorax and Spike have like my bro TP now.
hmm,
Oh, it was so legit. I like how this episode reminded me of, when people were talking about it. It's like the episode where they debuted Zakora, and
hmm,
the that isn't the opponent, but were like, oh, a stranger. What is this? What is this?
yeah.
This is madness. This is crazy. Who is this person? And it was thinly supposed to be veiled with like semi-racial undertones, but the bigger picture was people just judging people by how they look. Well, this episode does that a little differently. They're straight up racist to Thorax.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And it makes me think. I used to watch episodes like and see stuff like this all the time as a kid, but now that I'm older, I was just like, man, I know we're supposed to feel bad for Thorax, but it's like, dude, I really feel for Thorax now.
Oh,
By the way,
totally.
I like Thorax because I guess it was supposed to be like, because the changelings, they have the fangs, and I guess when you think of fangs, you think of vampires, and vampires sink their teeth into the necks or something.
Yeah. Honestly,
It's
the
it
I think the reason they chose the name thorax is simply for the fact that that's a part of a bug's body. Literally, that's the midsection of a bug. It's called the thorax. And I'm
Yeah, that
like,
makes sense too.
yeah, they're bug-like creatures, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah, I even like the little subtle nuances of his character design. Like, he looks like a regular changeling. The only difference is that, and I didn't even notice this till they showed him side by side of their changelings. I like that. I like that his eyes are just like a lighter shade of, what color would that be? Cerulean or something?
More cyan or something. I don't know.
Well, is it Rainbow Dash Cyan?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little darker shade of that.
The point is, he wasn't green with envy. He was blue with hope and optimism.
There you
Oh, that's a
go.
good. Oh, that's a good analogy.
There you go. Snakes get his back with the hard-hitting awesomeness.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm not just ranting about. Now I'm not just ranting about a cartoon character that I kind of sort of don't like sometimes for like 10 minutes.
Which, oh my gosh, the original video for that, it had
Yeah, that
six
was my
views and
bad.
one dislike.
Yeah, that was my bad because of that was my bad because I didn't. Well, I'm not even gonna just. Yeah, that was my bad. I shouldn't have brought that there. You know, that's
Yeah.
my bad. Estoy muy siento. So the episode starts with Starlight. Okay, I don't know why Starlight Glimmer was even here. Starlight Glimmer was so inconsequential to the episode.
But she did have some of the best lines in this first scene.
She did, yeah. I like I like it when because she's like one of the only few that do it like this. Whenever Twilight like starts getting all overly analytical, like she did, not analytical, what's the word, but like overly thinking everything, like seeing the baby again. Most of the other characters would be like, "Oh, Twilight," or just kind of roll their eyes. I like how Starlight Glimmer is just like she does that, but she also like sarcastically is kind of like busting her chops a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like It's the only kid they have. You'll probably recognize it. And and I love how Twilight just has this one weird smirk. And Tara Strong did this perfectly. She's just like, "Mm," just like that
Yeah,
is
I mean,
funny.
I heard Starlight say that, and I'm just like, man, these ponies are rubbing off on her. That almost sounds like something AJ or Dash would have said.
Hmm. And
And
and they're like, um, we gotta, gonna enjoy this trip and all that, right, Spike? And then you see Spike over the corner. He's like,
you got Spike.
Spike? Who's Spike?
You got Spike over there doing his best like Dick Tracy impersonation.
Although I will say, I rewatched our Equestria Games review, and I'm just like, you know what? Again, he looks like Sam and Max. He totally
Yeah,
does.
yeah, Sam. Dude, I just got this idea of a Sam and Max and Dick Tracy crossover. That'd be so good.
Oh yeah, totally.
Sorry, but anyway, but yeah, so they're like, dude, what's up with the disguise? And he's just like, oh, he's just like, I hate coming to America because every time I come over, everyone's screaming John, John at me, and wait. Hold on, that Beatles joke sounded better in my head. The point is, he hates being mobbed by the masses, and I like that Twilight is the one that said this because for some reason it always seems like whenever they bring up Spike saving the Crystal Empire, like he's the one that brings it up, and like the main six are just like, yes, yes, Spike, he saved the Crystal Empire. It's like, dude, he saved an entire kingdom and your lives, and like Twilight said twice.
Yeah, and he did it twice with well, I mean, I guess everyone's just forgiven him after the Equestria Games ordeal.
Well, to be honest, twice. I mean, I think he deserves a freebie. Dude, I would honestly love it if they had an episode, which they probably wouldn't do. I would love it if they had an episode where, like, let's say Crystal Empire works like Cadence isn't always the princess or the ruler of the kingdom, like they have an election or whatever, which I know that wouldn't work, but bear with me. I would love it if the people would nominate Spike to like take office instead of Chrysalis, and the whole time he's like, no, no, but then he ends up winning the election anyway.
It kind of reminds me of a Tumblr post where it's like, I want a movie where like Jeff Goldblum stars as this president that he gets elected. He wasn't even trying for it, but he gets elected anyway. Wow, sounds like Donald Trump. Anyway, he gets elected and he tries everything he can to get impeached because he hates the job. He's like, but yet for some reason everything works out in his favor. Like he declares war on Canada. Apparently, Canada had nuclear warheads that they were about to bombard America with. Bans Doritos. Apparently, they're the causes of all types of cancer. And he's just sitting there without any ability to do anything. And I'm just like, Jeff Goldblum would be the perfect person to play that sort of character.
Okay, they need to do that, but with
These
Spike, because that's
Doritos
fantastic.
are not very good.
Here's the thing, you guys. These gems are not clear cut. I demand that every pony be forced to work in the mines. So he like sends all the Crystal Empire ponies to go work in the mines right as the Changelings attack. So they attack an empty Crystal Empire, and then all the Crystal ponies come back like after they've been there a while and they've like slacked off, whatever, and then they completely destroy the Changeling Empire in one day, all because of Spike's decision.
And all of that would be as they're coming out of the cave, they're just like, hi ho, it's up to work we go.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, that's one
Dude,
of the best songs from Snow White.
dude, you have no idea how much I really want that Spike becomes Crystal Empire president plot to happen. Have that be
So
the movie. I don't know what they're gonna have for the movie, but have that be the movie. Just have it star Spike and Brayburn as his vice president.
Yeah, it's just like I nominate the yummy yummy beefcake himself, Braybird.
I'm
That
sorry,
was one of the
but
best things ever to come out of this TV show.
yeah, so they go to the Crystal Empire, right? And and it's completely dead again, a la the Zecora debut episode. This actually has, I mean, they would probably consider them homages if you talk to the crew, but this show kind of copies a bit of the Zecora episode as far as like the pacing goes. The Zecora song didn't have a cheesy ballad at the end, but we'll get to that in about 20 minutes.
Yep.
So 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 the townsfolk are like, oh my god, it's Spike, and Spike's like, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So
They
then
they
they look.
all bum rush him. And I'm thinking to myself, he's not a spotted bowboard from Pikmin. You can't just rush at this bum like that.
I don't know what that is or
It's
what you're
um
talking
it's
about.
basically Nintendo's look at a real-time strategy game.
Yeah, I never played Pikmin. I played games I played Nintendo games that people knew about, not just because they were thrown in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Ooh, shout out to Olimar. But but then they look at. I found this hilarious. I love how the Crystal Empire ponies completely prioritize, because they see Starlight Glimmer and Twilight Sparkle, and they're like, hey, is that really who they are? And they're like, well, we can't be sure. And then they question Spike. I love the fact that they completely prioritize Spike over Twilight Sparkle, who's one of the four princesses.
Yeah,
That's just I mean, I get it because he did save the city twice, but that's just really funny to me.
and I love how like just one crystal pony is just like everybody run, and they all scatter, and Spike's just left there
Yeah,
in the
that
midair for a second, and it's just like, oh crap,
yeah,
boom.
those like 22 ponies that you saw, that was the entire population of the Crystal Kingdom. All the other guys in all the ponies you saw in the Crystal Games, that was just Appaloosa. They just got a paint job.
Oh, there you go.
So they try to go to the palace, and the guards are like, "Hey, Spike, what's up, bro?" And no, actually,
They're like,
Twilight tries to be
don't
like,
don't try and don't say anything. They could not be who they think they are. Blah blah blah.
oh my god, I don't know why it was such a minor thing, but I loved every guard in the Crystal Empire. Normally a lot of the male ponies in the show get kind of get like a goofy Daffy kind of, not Daffy as in Daffy Duck, but get kind of a goofier Daffy voice, and
They get
sometimes
that big gravelly voice, especially in the season 4 premiere.
yeah,
It's like, Your Highness, it appears the Everfree Forest is
orders
well
have been.
invading.
He's sounding like
Where
Richard
were the
Nixon
other
trying to.
vines going?
Yeah, they sound like Richard Nixon trying to do their best impersonation of Solid Snake, but it's coming off as Christian Bale's Batman. But in this, but in this episode, they just sound like big macho tough guys, and I'm like, that's good. Get some of that '80s wrestling persona. We need more Macho Man Randy Savages in the
Get
world,
Hulk Hogan to do it too. Just
dude.
just have Macho Man on one end, and it's just like, oh yeah, you look at the cream, oh yeah.
It just be have Macho Man be Spike, just be like, oh yeah, I like those crystal gems cut well, oh yeah.
May he rest in
It's
peace, Macho Man.
it is impossible to impersonate Macho Man Randy Savage without completely scrunching up your face and looking like you're having a damn seizure.
Yeah, right.
But
He, that maybe that's why he that's why everyone thinks he always looks so constipated.
well, that and he did massive amounts of cocaine. So they're trying to get into the Crystal Castle playset, which is like $80
Yeah,
at
let's fly to
Walmart.
the castle.
Yeah, which is like $80-ish dollars at Walmart, and it's like, are you serious? It doesn't even come with any actually, it even doesn't even come with any ponies. But anyway, so they go into the castle because Caden's in shining armor. are just like, don't worry, guys. They're Twilight. Don't worry, guys. They're with us. And
Yeah, it's just like I have just met these guards and I really like them. Twilight.
and the what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so they go into the place, and Twilight and Spike are just like they're like dude, what's going on? And they're just like, bro, we got a problem. What's up? They canceled Shenmue 3. No, oh, that would
and they're
suck
and
though.
they've delayed Dead or Alive 2 again.
Yeah, they've delayed Dead. They've delayed Dead or they've delayed Dead or
Yeah,
Alive
they
2
Delilah
again.
Dead or Alive
Yeah,
2.
they dilapidated Dead or Alive. But
I'm sorry, that was one of the best Jim Sterling episodes that he ever did. It's just like,
yeah,
oh, maybe we'll get it back if Rayman Origins sells well. And it's going up against Assassin's Creed Revelations and all
you
those.
know, you know what? It's not. That's not even the creator's fault. That is all. You know what's funny is that Rayman is owned by Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed. So they're like, oh yeah, if Rayman sells well, then we'll do it. But they keep releasing the Rayman games in time with their own Assassin's Creed games. It's like Rayman has awesome nostalgia factor to like some '90s kids and and maybe a few millennials here and there. But Assassin's Creed's is a AAA product.
Mm. Now you look at it, it's like their PR department and their marketing department really need to have a sit down and figure this out.
Yeah, they need to have a sit down. They need to talk. They need to talk about how they need to stop lying at E3, and how they need to just cop up and admit that the reason why they don't have more cool female characters that you can play as in games isn't because of money. It's because they're not creative enough to come up with cool enough ideas.
Wait, weren't we talking about a pony episode here?
Sorry, it's just oh my but you know what? There was a point to that Ubisoft thing that I was going to use to parlay in the episode. Okay, so Thorax is Ubisoft, right? And Spike is no, I don't know. I lost it.
So weird.
The point is yeah, there's a changeling running amok, running duck amok, and um, I forget how it gets to this point, but
Well,
Spike at
basically,
one.
what happens is, you know, Shining Armor's like, hey, Spike. The guards were wondering if you wanted to come out with them on their little quest to try and find the changeling, and
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They
it's like
were gonna.
Spike the Brave and Glorious, and Twilight's just like, it's gonna be dangerous. Are you sure you want to do that? I'm thinking to myself, Twilight, number one, shut up. It's been 6 seasons now, 6 years of this show. You need to lighten the crap up. And number two,
It's like did she
Spike does
forget
it
about the?
better than me anyway. He's just like,
It's like did she forget about the episode where Spike was in the race with all the dragons?
yeah. And then you look at like where it's just like the guards are just like, oh, we'll have Spike the Great, Brave and Glorious with us. We'll be fine. And then Spike's is like, or maybe they'll be fine with Spike the Brave and Glorious.
I every time they said that, I just couldn't stop thinking of the brave and glorious Trixie. But yeah, I was gonna say
Does that replace her equestrian apology to her?
it's a working title. So they go out into this. So they go out into the snow, and so they go out into the snow, and it's just I'm sorry, it's really funny. You would think at this point Twilight would be okay. She's like, Spike, it's dangerous. No, if she wanted to warn him, she should just be something like, Spike, it's dangerous out there. Have you never played Dead Space 3? Snow is evil.
It's like, it's dangerous to go out alone. Take this, and it's a bunch of the guard ponies.
It's like Spike, don't start channeling Dead Souls or Shadow of Mordor. You'll never beat the game.
Oh my
But
gosh.
so
Dark Souls 3. Oh my gosh.
I don't want to talk about it. So long story short, Spike's walking. He's walking. He falls down a snow hole,
Yeah, and
And
before this, he tells like he's just like, I'm gonna try something here. You go that way. They run off faster than Sonic. You go that way, and they run off faster than Eggman, who's even faster than Sonic. If you've seen that Green Theory, um,
yeah,
but then he's like, so if I were a changeling, maybe I'd be this rock. Not talking much, eh? I kind of figure. And I'm just like, please don't be like, oh, you're a rock. That's why. Thankfully, they didn't do that. But he lifts it up for a second, lets it back down, and he literally falls through this hole. And I gotta say, this portion where he's falling and it's his perspective going down, and all of a
yeah,
sudden he
that was well
stops.
animated.
He stops for a split second before the camera pans down, and I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, if that was his, if that was how he landed, I really hope he didn't like completely destroy his family jewels there because it looked like it. And then it switches to him just holding on to it on the other side. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's like and with that whole shot with him falling down, my first thought was, hey, shout out to arachnophobia. Isn't that the
Yeah,
fear of heights?
something like that. There's
So
actually one where it's a phobia, one of the longest worded phobias ever,
no,
and it
yeah,
says fear of long words. It's
it's
like you
like
could have thought about that a little bit better.
it's like it's like whoever came up with that phobia is a jerk.
By the way, guys, if any of you do have that phobia, anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Wait, what?
You've never heard that?
No, I have. It's just that I tried to think about it because I don't care if it's said as a joke. That those words together just malfunction my brain.
Basically, what it means is mentarianism is when a law is trying to be taken out of law, and um, it's basically people being against the people trying to disestablish the law. So it's
So
basically the
it's
people
like it.
against the people trying to take the law away.
So it's like if Batman fought the Punisher.
Something like that. Or hey, it's change.org.
Yeah, it's changed our. Hey guys, come. Hey guys, come help sign a petition. That'll grow my legs back.
Yeah.
So, so it's here we meet Thorax, or as I'm calling him now, Broax. That sounded better in my head again. But yeah,
Well, think
Broax.
about Broax. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that could have been a character in Brutal Legend.
Oh, dude. Hey guys, A Riggs here. This is my brother Broax.
That would be awesome.
That would be great. So it's here we meet Thorax, and can I just say, from the second this dude talked, I was just like, I already like him. Like, I'll admit his personality felt a bit kind of like, excuse me, kind of felt a bit like male Fluttershy, but it was still unique in that. Oh, and his backstory is cool. He of course Spike's scared and he falls off he falls off like the little cliff there in the gorge, and Thorax saves him, and he's like, "What the?" And Thorax is like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm you know what it just hit me. You know what Thorax reminds me of, and I know it's a little more popular as a meme than an episode, but do you remember that episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where SpongeBob became SpongeBob Round Pants?
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Thorax reminds me of Fluttershy meets SpongeBob Round Pants.
That makes way too much sense.
Thorax is it's funny. Thorax's backstory is a little like Invader Zim because they both grew up in a colony with their hierarchy that's taller than them, and they both came out different and emotionally maladjusted. The only difference is that whereas Thorax kept to his inhibitions and he found out that he didn't want to just suck all the love and like be like evil and stuff. He wanted to like learn about love and friendship. Invader Zim just went insane and kill two of his leaders.
Well, what's the what was the sidekick's name? I forget.
Oh, a Gur.
Yeah, Gur. Literally, at least we got Gur from Invader Zim. Yay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
dude.
sick.
Oh yeah, dude. Gur is basically Pinkie Pie on cocaine.
Yeah. If
So
Pinkie Pie and Gur met, how crazy would things go? He'd, he'd
dude,
introduce her to like,
let me
hey,
put you like
you want to
this.
meet this white sugar? And it's really like cocaine or something.
Dude, if those two ever met, it would be a case of the oddness and randomness of the two of them combined would rip a hole into the fabric of space-time reality, and and Deadpool would look at that episode like the end shot, the post-credit scene would be Deadpool watching that episode on YouTube, because he's not going to watch it on TV. He's going to torrent, and
Yeah.
it's him watching the episode going, ugh, what a bunch of weirdos. Click.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
And then he
Thorax
looks
is
at the audience. He's like, "What are you still doing here? It's over. Go home."
By the way, we're gonna do Deadpool 2, and we're gonna have Cable. So
That movie
Thorax,
was seriously awesome.
that movie is great. I love Thorax's backstory, and what's interesting is that he talks about how he wants to learn about love, not specifically friendship. Which, I mean, I get it; it parlays well into him being a changeling and love such a strong emotion, and the connection it has to the Camelot wedding two-parter.
Hmm.
Which, if every Brony in the world hasn't said it enough already, that's still one of the dopest anythings that this show's ever produced.
Oh, totally. But I mean, I want to say one thing about the whole like chrysalis hive thing. First of all, more world building, not really much we haven't already known
Or
or
guessed.
theorized, but in all honesty, holy crap. I mean, you look at they look like bat caves or whatever, a bunch of stalactites and stuff.
Yeah.
And I knew they would hatch out of eggs, but then Chrysalis lifts one of them up, and I'm just like, dear God, they're tiny.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I have to imagine that it's kind of like it's. I have to imagine it's kind of like Queen Ants, where it's like, I guess the way changelings work as chrysalis is just from a specific breed of whatever. But in the show and comics, chrysalis is the only changeling that's shown like that. So
If you guys ever want to see a cool backstory from a fan fiction, go and read a fan fiction called the Celestia Code. Um, it's where it's basically one of the tags is literally badass Twilight, and it's basically where she goes and investigates these sandy dune areas where there's apparently an ancient crystal engine still running or something, and when they go around to it, they actually talk about a backstory about how Chrysalis was once part of this race that lived there, and she was one of the most beautiful out of all of them. And when she discovered the dark crystal engine, she she like turned into that bug creature that she is known as now, and she had to literally leave with some of her minions.
because greed is whack, yo. Yeah,
So
I still think this show has a pretty narrow has I still think the show has insane tunnel vision when it comes to its concepts of greed, but
yeah, so
apparently
they
the Flim Flam brothers are greedy, when it's just like, dude, they're just businessmen.
yeah. So then you go ahead to where Spike brings Thorax in,
Yeah.
and or he
Oh,
first goes and says, "Hey, um, I'm going to try and talk to them and see if it works." And I love the point where he's talking to Thorax just before he goes back to the Crystal Empire, and he's just like, hasn't any pony just ever been nice to you? and Thorax smiles for a split second, and all of a sudden, his tongue, like literally Gene Simmons' tongue, starts coming out and flailing everywhere. And it's like, oh, sorry. Um, Kindness like that kind of brings it out, and I'm like, it's something you can suppress. That's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, that man, Thorax and his backstory just interests me so much because it's like, it's kind of, I hate to bring up this analogy, but like, so it's kind of like how in Twilight, the swans or whatever they were, or no, the Cullens, kind of like how the Cullens were vegetarian vampires, where they feasted off animal blood instead of human. It kind of feels like that because Thorax was saying how he says this at the end, but well, kind of. I think he says this after Spike talks to the guards the first time. He mentions how he wants to bring love and knowledge, that knowledge of love and friendship, back to the Crystal Empire so that they can produce their own love, so that they don't have to
Oh,
sustain it off
bring it
ponies.
back to his hive so
Yeah,
they
and
don't
that,
have
and
to
that kind of
keep
got me
stealing it.
wondering. It's like that got me thinking though. It's kind of like, wait a minute, isn't that just some kind of like friendship, love, like friendship, love, food, oh, like inbreeding or something?
I wonder though if you
Is
really
it?
think about it.
Oh my god, auto cannibalistic friendship.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They're gonna turn themselves into like metaphorical cannibals from that.
That is
But they're cannibals
hilarious.
already, so
Kind of, I
they're
think.
metaphorical cannibals already. But anyway, Spike goes back and he's trying to figure out, what the heck is going to go on. He talks to Shining Armor and Cadence, and Shining Armor is just like, you do realize that he's probably like tricking you and he wants to get the rest of his hive over here and blah, blah, blah. And Spike, surprisingly grounded in what he's thinking here. He goes back to Thorax and he's like, and Thorax is just like, so how did it go? How many friends do I have? You don't really have any yet. I wasn't able to convince everyone yet. And I'm like, okay. Then Thorax does that really like drooping animation. And might I just say, I don't know why, but doesn't it seem like the animation for the changelings almost seems like it's made in a different program other than Flash?
Yeah, I was thinking
Because the
about
the
that.
model the model looks distinctly like part of the MLP universe. But again, the way it moves, the way it emotes, the way its eyes blink, they look more like, okay. You've seen the first Men in Black movie, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. At the scene where Will Smith is chasing
Yeah,
the
dude,
alien at the
I grew
very
up in the
beginning.
2000s. I saw Men in Black.
Well, I know there's some people out there that still hadn't even any idea of what that is. Um,
They're
which,
lost.
guys, it's deadpan dry humor. It's freaking awesome. But anyway,
It is good.
that end scene right before the alien jumps at the beginning of the movie, he's like, "You don't understand. Your world's gonna end," and he blinks sideways. It's kind of like that, where it almost looked like it was a weird alien sort of blink rather than an actual blink from one of the pony characters.
Yeah,
So,
it played into it played into the what is it? The whole bug like quality of the changelings.
yeah,
I like it. I like that the changelings like move, act, and like feel different than the ponies. It creates real good what's the word? Species separation.
yeah, exactly. So
So
he thinks, they're trying to figure everything out. Thorax is just like, it's not like I can just transform into a pony and go everywhere. And I would have been like, really, dude, seriously? But then he changed into that one specific pony that no one's ever seen, and I'm just like, he kind of looks like he could be the boyfriend of the one businessman's daughter from the Manhattan boutique. You know, the girl with the braces or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah.
So they're trying to, just chat with everyone, and he's seeing the Crystal Empire. He's like, "This is so cool," and they bring him up to the throne room, and he's just like a friend of Spike the Glorious is a friend with is of our friend too, and then they show Flurry Heart.
Which
She
is kind
still
of
looks
weird.
adorable, by the way.
Which is kind of weird considering that Spike tried that same thing with Twilight and Starlight Glimmer, but the guards wouldn't even pretend to let them through until Cadence and Shining Armor showed up.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So it eventually gets to the point where he's just like, "Oh gosh, I can't control it anymore," and he switches back to his changeling form. Everyone freaks out, and he's and Shining Armor's like, "Get away from that thing. He could have taken your friend," and it's like, you know, something of like, you want to keep yourself safe from that monster? And he's just like, I guess. And you see Thorax go, like, literally almost start crying and just fly out of the room. I'm just like,
Yeah, I
dear
was kind of like,
Lord.
what? I was kind of like, what the expletive, Spike?
Yeah, right. So, yeah. He goes back and
But
tries
then
to
this is
find.
friendship is magic, so that gets resolved fairly quickly. Spike's just like, hey man, my bad. That wasn't right, man. That's I'm sorry. We cool. And
I was
Thorax is
being
like,
whack.
I,
So
I was I was being whack. I was being whack. I'm trying not to get sacked because we're still friends. You gotta relax because I'll
I
get
didn't
you
know you were
friends.
talking about Michael
Thorax.
Vick.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that joke's like 10 years old.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Man,
um,
you know you're getting old when Michael Vick happened like a decade ago.
yeah, with the whole dogfighting thing and EA possibly putting him on the box of like Madden 12 or whatever.
That is all that dude needed.
Yeah. So anyway, um, I love how now it's showing where like he's looking around with the rocks and Thorax was the rock. I'm like, who knows what the Thorax is cooking? Um, but even better is like that was foreshadowing earlier in the episode. You sneaky bastards. Clever girl.
Yeah, the show's nothing else if not too smart for its own good sometimes.
Totally.
So Spike is like, dude, I have a plan. It's gonna work. Honestly, yeah, this is when the pacing of the episode is a little kind of off because I'm trying to think like so they go to the so the episode starts with them going to the Crystal Empire, then Spike goes into the snow, then the cave, then goes back to the Crystal Empire, then back to the cave, then back to the Crystal Empire, then back to the cave, and then now it's Crystal Empire. I'm trying to think like how far out that cave is from the town. I mean, I know it's in walking distance, but everyone walks everywhere in the show. So I'm just saying this. I don't understand how it's still daylight out. This episode took like all day.
Honestly, though, think about it. Pinky would just say it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Crystal Empire.
Yeah, well, you know what? Pinkie Pie could probably also pull out a full size old school Pac-Man cabinet from her hair. That doesn't mean I'm gonna accept that it makes sense.
Yeah, she's gonna pull out that old Cruella de Vil car with the suicide doors.
With the Suicide Squad logo on the back.
Oh, totally.
But dude, Cruella de Vil looks like she could have been in Suicide Squad.
Oh
She's
yeah,
she's
totally.
crazy. She's crazy and gimmicky enough to qualify as a Batman villain.
Oh, totally.
It's like so yeah, Spike's just like, dude, Broax, I got the best idea in the world. And he's like, really? And Spike's like, yes, check this out. So they go back to they, they go back to the Crystal Empire. They just walk in the front door. I mean, they
Mm.
sneak in. They sneak in, but they just walk through the front door, and then they go to the and then they go to the room. They go to the main hall room, and Spike's just like, sup nerds, and they're like, and the Crystal people are just like, and Twilight and Starlight are just like, Spike, get away from that weeboo trash. He likes Elfen Lied. And then and
Oh,
then
really? You
I'm sorry,
had to
that's
put the
I'm
anime
sorry, that's
reference in there.
I'm sorry, that's I mean, some people compare it to Tokyo Ghoul. No. Tokyo Ghoul is way better than Elfen Lied. But my point of this is that Spike's whole plan was, as soon as he starts coming under fire from everybody, he's just like, don't worry, I got this. Thorax, Thorax, check this out. And then it's just journey powers activate. Spike busts out the fattest ballad. I mean, there's Roro or whatever it was from the Applejack Lady Gaga whatever episode. There is Kate. There is Celestia's Ballads of Twilight in the season 3 finale, and then there's this Stephen Perry in the spotlight, 80s cheese, just breakup song ballad that's just like, oh my god. I'm thinking to myself, if Prince heard the composition on this, he would have been like, hey, that's a really pretty song.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it
At
but
least he
is
sounds better than in the Crystal Empire.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spike's singing voice. I mean, no disrespect to Kathy Westlock from that episode, but Spike's singing voice definitely took a turn for the better in this episode. And me and John were talking about this before we went online, and I told John how, you know, I
Okay,
told
Snakeskin.
what?
All I can hear is just weird static now.
What do you mean weird
Now you're
static?
good. I don't know what the heck that was. I just hear
Okay,
a
well, I'm not sure how much got weird, but basically, Spike turned into Stephen Perry from, old school Journey, and sang a song about like acceptance and like tolerance and stuff, and like the what was I gonna say? You know what? I had a good joke for that, but no, I'm kidding. But yeah, so oh no, I remember. I was saying how we were talking before we went online, how, I said how, I already knew the song was going to be divisive amongst the fan base, and
Mhm.
then John, you told me how you got diabetes because this song was huffing that much cheese.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude, you were like Faguda, more like forget about it. You were
Okay,
like
this got weird real quick.
blue cheese, more like this song, blue cheese chunks.
Abdoo da boo dee da boo da.
I have like 7 more cheese puns than I really should have.
Honest, you've been listening to Richard Cheese recently, haven't you?
That doesn't matter if I have, John.
So, yeah, that was the times are they are a changeling. Overall, not a bad episode. I give it probably about the same rating I gave Equestria Games because it was still a really solid Spike episode. There was some little things that I didn't like, but other than that, it was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, I love. What was the score you gave it for Equestria Games?
I think I gave it like an 8.2 or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. I liked the episode. I like the ending too, where I mean, it felt forced on Shining Armors, and when he's like, "Hey, man, my bad, we didn't get to know you, but we'd like to start now." That warmed my clogged little heart. So, yeah, honestly, I'm giving this episode a 9 because it was good. The feels were there. Some of the funny was there. I like the song. I can understand why some people might be kind of like about it, but no, I did dig the song, and I dug the episode. So, yeah, go Friendship is Magic.
Yeah, right. It's a good episode, and
I mean, the season has still been good. I don't want people to think that I don't like the season. It's just that, I thought really high of season 5 and most of season 4. So, you know, not to compare them, but yeah, no, this episode was fire.
yeah, totally. So, what what comes next week is going to be very interesting too. It's
What's
finally
that?
going to be the Dungeons and Discord episode.
Oh my God, is that really next week?
And you look at one of the what was it? You look at there was a little video that was uploaded where it's like Megan McCarthy, they still go to the summits and whatnot, and they talk about the story and they try and find pop culture references. There's a point where literally Dash jumps in as like one of those. Are you okay over there?
What? Yeah, you're cutting out.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be bad, dude. I can't wait.
Yep. So that's it from me, John,
And me, Snakeskin.
and we will talk to you guys later. Peace out, Dragon.
Hashtag needs more changelings.